Welcome to another tier list because it's easy to do and you don't have to think much about it. This one, it's the Lords tier list, so all the generic Lords in the Warhammer Army books. I'm joined again by Scott, who won't leave me alone. Welcome back for the 20th time.
I mean, someone's not even someone alone, but I think your public know what the truth is.
How many fan mail have you had this week?
Oh, I mean, it gets to the stage where you just have to turn it away.
You can't open the door anymore.
Yes, exactly what it is. Yeah, I'm trapped in this house.
Well, we've also got the person who sent all that fan mail. Steve's back. Welcome back, Steve.
I know the postage costs are horrendous, but yeah, well, you know, I only come on the ones where you don't have to think, so that's perfect. I'm also here for the food. You promised me cake.
Yes, we'll settle up at the end, allegedly. We've decided, and by we I mean me, because you wanted to do something else, but I used my executive power to overrule you. We're going to do the Lords, of which there's quite a few. How important are Lords? I think they're quite important.
I think it depends on which fact or which army book you're talking about. Some armies can get away without using any.
Dwarves, for example, don't really.
Dwarves can make a really good list without even touching the Lord options. Vampires, however, really important.
I can't remember the last time I took a Lord to an event, so I'm obviously going to be brilliant at this.
You are just the man we need to discuss the Lord's exclusive tier list.
Steve thought that the characters just stopped at heroes.
Yeah. I think I'm missing a few pages from the army books.
It's never affected performance anyway, so. Well, let's have a look at the tier list. So there we are. There's in fact so many Lords that the third level of them, you can't see it, but we'll get to it. It'll all make itself clear. So we'll start with probably the most generic Lord, the Empire General.
Because I must admit, I've played Empire quite a lot, and I've never actually taken a general of the Empire.
It's a good start.
Oh, look at this! I have.
The thing is, I think I give or take, other than the ability to wield a rune fang, the only thing I think he brings to the table relatively is obviously hold your ground, which a BSB or a captain can do.
Oh, before we continue, we should probably state what we're judging these on, which would help in understanding why we've ranked them. It's how good they are and what they can take, so common magic items and army book specific items, and also their mount options. So we're sort of considering all of that in the tier list. But go on, Scott. Sorry.
Other than that, the only other big thing he brings is LD9, which you can get better, I think, on an Arch Lector.
Yes.
The only reason I will qualify, the only reason I did take him was in a halfling model Empire army because I had a very cool Napoleon halfling model, so therefore he had to be a general. And that is literally the only reason I would ever take one.
I think we're safe to say that they're not very...
No.
It's not that they're not good, they're just not worth what they bring.
Every other Lord can do things better.
Yeah. From the options that Empire have, everyone else can do what he can do, but better.
It does have access to the Imperial Griffin, but...
I mean, the less said about the Imperial Griffin, probably the better.
Yeah,
if you want a Griffin, that's when you take him. But
yes,
that's literally the only time.
If for some reason you want a Griffin,
you just take Karl Franz in that case. I mean...
Well, exactly. There you go. If you want a fighty character, you take the Grandmaster. The Arch Lector provides leadership with a better model and more rules. And if you want to hold the ground, you take a captain.
Yeah, I just think he's poor.
Sort of saying D? Or is he worse than that?
No, I'd put him in the trash.
Trash?
He's probably, he's just not worth taking at all.
Yeah, everything he does, somebody else does better or cheaper.
He doesn't even have 4 attacks, bless him.
Oh, it's just rubbish.
No, he doesn't. I'm just reading his profile. 3 attacks.
It's absolutely terrible.
He's only weapon skill 5.
I know. It's the woefulness just goes on the more you read.
Yeah, he's really poor. Bless him.
Well, what about the Archlector? I think he's better.
Oh, he's generally the Empire competitive lord of choice.
Yeah.
He's got the good LD. He's got the priest abilities.
He can ride a war altar, which
he can ride
hold
a
them in the
war
light council and stuff.
So it's the combination of him with he bubbles hatred as well, doesn't he? If he's on the war altar.
Yeah.
That's really good for the Empire.
Yeah, you have him if you have him in your traditional, say, an Empire Light Council, his ability just ramps up and up and up. Like this standard with good Empire stuff, but the synergies just start really coming together. Or you happen to have, say, a Shadow Wizard. Then he sits in a big block of Spearmen or Halberdiers, and then they've got Strength 9, because you may or may not have had Occam's Mind Razor.
Have you seen that build a lot where you give him the Van Horseman Speculum? Just get him into
you can
duels?
put that or that you'd put that on a hero, and then watch your hero smack other lords about like they're going out of fashion.
Yeah, engineer.
For that, see the heroes tier list, which may or may not be in the future.
I think for me, I think the Archlector is and he's not that expensive either.
Yeah,
his points are really
No,
competitive.
he's quite cheap.
For me, it's like an A kind of.
Yeah, I think he's really.
If I am going to take a lord and the Empire Army, which I don't, if I am, he would be the one I'd take.
Yeah, I must admit, he's other than for like a themed Grandmaster use, who may or may not be armed with a Runefang and the other Trickster's Shard. Whenever I've taken an actual competitive Empire list, I've taken an Archlector.
And he's pretty easy to tool up with like armor and stuff because you can get all the.
Like, just give him the armor, silver, steel, and then you've got loads of points left for other stuff.
Yeah,
you could give him the Meteoric Iron, Talaman's Preservation
Yeah,
on foot.
I actually meant armor Meteoric Iron. Sorry, yeah.
Or you can put him on a barded warhorse and he can run off with knights. He's very, very flexible.
He's so versatile. Yeah. I think he's an A because of his use within the army, not of his own abilities, though.
Yeah, he brings a
lot.
lot.
If he was just purely his own ability, he'd probably drop to a C.
Well, he's only got 2 attacks at weapon skill 4, but the fact that he can do all this other stuff to help the army quite cheaply. Yeah.
It's just the fact that he's a cheap Leadership 9 general.
Yeah.
With everything else.
100 points. I mean, that's nothing, that.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute bargain. Because even just taking it like with just generic kit, he's a bargain.
So who's next? The Battle Wizard Lord. I think just because you can pick any of the 8 Winds of Magic, that's heavily in his favour.
He's also, like every other Empire model, cheap.
Yes. What is he here?
I think probably though, because I don't think there's anything particularly in the Empire book, magic-wise, that makes him stand out. I can't think of a single arcane item in the Empire book where you go, oh yeah, I'll take a Wizard Lord because of this item.
No.
He would probably go into kind of the whatever rating the average level 4 wizard is going to be. That's probably what he would go.
He's the ultimate average level 4 wizard, isn't he?
That's the Empire all over, isn't it?
Yeah, so for
all
me,
right and everything.
If we judge, because we're talking lords anyway, so every caster is going to be give or take level 4. I think he's probably a C.
Yeah, I'd say C.
He's a level 4. He's just a cheap level 4.
And it's not like his mounts are particularly brilliant because you can take the Luminarch and the Hurricanum, but you would just put them on.
Or you can put him on a Griffin.
You can put him on a Griffin if he's Lord of Beasts.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, but then he goes down to a D. So
you can put a Griffin and puts him in trash, Captain.
See it? Well, yeah. So other than the fact that he can pick any of the laws of magic, he's
got nothing else going for him.
C, that's a pretty mid-tier.
He's cheap though. He is cheap, and that is the benefit of almost every Empire character.
I think
Yeah.
if we're gonna say a decent average level 4 is a C, then the really good ones can go to B and A, and the top ones. And the
Yeah,
rubbish ones can go lower. So I think that's about right.
yeah.
As a mark.
What about then the Grandmaster, the last of the Empire
So
Lords?
I actually like and rate the Grandmaster because he comes essentially with a 1-up armor save. He's not too expensive. I think he's like 165 points off the top of my head without looking at me.
He's 155.
There you go.
Um,
Um,
and yeah, he comes with all the
comes all the kit.
full plate and a Bard Warhorse.
He's weapon skill 6, 4 attacks. Like, he's okay.
For me, he's a standard fighty character. So for me, that kind of puts him in the C range. But
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
would a Rune Fang and another Trickster Side push him up to a B? Because that is quite a good combo.
It is tasty. It's even tastier if you happen to also have a Hurricanum, so you get +1 to hit. So he's hitting on 3s that then wound automatically with no armor saves.
He's also immune to psychology, but that doesn't really.
That's got pluses and minuses. So
Yeah.
But if you want him attacking, then that's pretty good.
Well, if you actually want a combat character in your Empire army, he's your choice.
that doesn't necessarily mean he's.
Whether that makes it any better or not. I suppose we can always obviously modify them as we go once we sort of talk through the other ones.
Yeah,
but I think you're right.
It might up and down depending.
He's probably. You say the question is he a B because he has access to a Rune Fang? Possibly, because he's got 4 attacks and access to a Rune Fang.
Quite a lot of attacks that are going to wound on hit.
Yeah.
Should we put B and then we can always change it if.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
with that load out.
It probably shows the Empire and give or take where they are as well, actually, which is from absolute trash up to actually genuinely decent options.
It's a good spread for them, yeah, certainly. So the High Elf selection, I know a bit more about these. The Prince, he's slightly more expensive than the. Although he's not more expensive than the Grandmaster. I think he's only like 140 points straight off.
Yeah, the issue is, obviously, I mean, one is an elf who's got ASF, which is good, but he doesn't have. He's only toughness 3.
Toughness 3 is a big problem for the Prince.
He doesn't have a 1-up armor save.
No,
as standard.
I think there's 2 words you need for a High Elf Prince, and that's Star Dragon.
That's what the S is for.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. You're not taking a High Elf Prince unless you happen to be putting him on a Star Dragon because you're just ballsy. Otherwise, your Lord Slot's comfortably going on your Archmage.
Yeah, the sensible thing to do is to put him on a Ithamar steed and put him in Block of Knights, but that's boring.
Yeah, and it's not actually that effective. I mean, if he's on a steed I would say he's kind of a C. I would rate the Grandmaster above him because he's got.
I think the Grandmaster's a better option than a High Elf Lord.
Yeah,
High Elf Prince.
But if you put him on a steed in a Block of Knights.
Yes. Yeah, if you put him on a Star Dragon, I mean, obviously it's a Star Dragon.
Yeah, the options they've got for mounts and the weaponry they can take, and you do have to spend a bit to get them their armor save up, but you can give him other Trickster's Shard, a good sword, and then a good armor save and a ward save.
Yeah, you just don't really need to give him anything. You just need to
give him a Star Dragon,
a saddle, and a dragon.
He can die. The Star Dragon's then going to carry the dates. Fine.
Yeah.
So you reckon then? Same as Grandmaster?
Is he a B?
Or is he?
Yeah, because I think personally, generically he's probably worse than a Grandmaster, but you can put him on a dragon.
He is leadership 10, and on a dragon that's 18 inches of leadership 10, which is.
I would put him up to an A on a Star Dragon, to be honest. Because Star Dragon's so good. It's the strength 7, toughness 7. Is it 2-up armor save?
3-up scaly skin.
Save.
But they've got the breath weapon as well, and all those lovely options.
Yeah, the only concern, which is every concern on a monster, is that it's just one cannon away from being pointless.
That's true, but you can't one-shot with a cannon.
Yeah.
Because he's got got 7 wounds, which I think is there's not.
Yeah, the Star Dragon is an outrageous beast to be fair, isn't it?
There's not many monsters that have got that many wounds.
No, I think you're right. If you put them on a Star Dragon, because we're not talking about how worthwhile for his points he is, we're just saying actually how good is he?
Yeah.
He's really good.
Take that.
Yeah. The only reason you probably don't see him as often is because the Archmage.
Well, he's coming up next, and
Yeah.
I think he's S tier, in my opinion.
He's S tier because he can have the Book of Oath.
His combination.
When he comes to the Book of Oath and the Talisman of Preservation, because that's what you get when you graduate from the.
If you look around the back of the Tower of Hoeth, there's just skips full of Books of Hoeth and Talismans of Preservation, and they just help themselves as they graduate. And that +1 to high magic, so he's got access to all the winds of magic and high magic, and he's effectively a level 5 when he's casting high magic, and high magic buffs the unit he's in. He does loads of things for the army at the same time.
I think as far as level 4s go, like they're certainly unarguably one of the best.
To the point where it's very difficult for me to write a list and not start with an Archmage. Which is the opposite of Steve's technique, but there you go.
Yeah, I know. First thing on my list, 10 Night Goblin Lords. Boom. There you go.
Coming up later.
I think the only downside is he's an elf, so he's toughness 3.
He is an elf, but even that toughness 3, you give him a Talisman of Preservation and you cast 1 high magic spell, and he's 3 at ward save. But I'll stick him on the edge of the 10
and
wide
he's got
block.
that spell in high magic where he can heal.
Oh, it's Apotheosis, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Self-heal.
Yeah. He's an excellent character, and because the Book of Oath is so cheap that you can have the Talisman of Preservation with it as well. It's just a ridiculous.
It's almost like it was written for it. It fits exactly his 100 points allowance, those 2 items.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I'm gonna vote S, and I'm gonna overrule anyone who says different.
I know.
That's what we were going to say. You were putting a S regardless.
Yeah, I think if we disagreed, he'd kick us off the podcast.
Yeah, so that's he wouldn't get invited.
The last two were invited to take part.
It's alright, I've got loads of other friends who want to come on. Don't check that out. Other podcast guests are available, to quote the Triple Crown guys. The Anointed. I actually really like him because he comes with a 4-up base ward save that you don't have to pay for.
I know, but he's just not as good as any other option you've got, though, is he?
He's not, but here you can't really. You probably could include him in an Archmage, but then you're running out of points for other things.
Yeah, but if there's 2 words to go with him as well, and that's Frost Phoenix.
Yeah.
So essentially, what we're saying is you only take high elf characters for their mount options.
Yeah.
Their characters are pretty rubbish.
Yeah, the high elf mount options, the monsters are really good.
Yeah,
and massively undercosted.
I think they're perfectly costed.
On a Frost Phoenix, which is what you do, really, he's up kind of A level, just because the Frost Phoenix is so good. He doesn't really necessarily need to do all that much.
He doesn't.
Much like the guy on top of the Star Dragon.
Yeah.
But the fact he comes with a 4 ward built in means that you can kit him out offensively. You can basically put 100 points in offensive magic items.
Yeah.
Which makes him actually better, probably a better fighter than the High Elf Lord.
Not less, wasn't he?
Got 3 attacks.
Well, you've got the old Sword of Bloodshed, Potion of Strength combo, which I quite like, which you can probably easily put on him.
He can just got enough spare points if you wanted to, not that you would, to take the Giant Blade for some Strength 7 attacks. He's not too bad on foot, though, because it gives his unit a 6-up ward save and immune to psychology, and magic resistance, too.
Yeah, I mean, put him into a unit with a level 4 mage with the usual trinket and book. And
that unit's going bloody nowhere, is it?
Yeah.
So what do you reckon about A or B? I think he's A.
He's A on a Frost Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we're talking about the best setup you can have for these characters, I would say A, and I would say the only reason you don't see him is because of the Archmage.
Yeah, they suffer in comparison to the Archmage.
I think that's why you don't see like a lot of characters that it's not that they're bad. It's just one clearly standout option that's much better.
You always go to that, and don't forget the Archmage can take a Star Dragon if he wants. Not that he would, but
That's my preferred option with the Archmage.
casting
I'm
high.
Curse Icon on High Magic. Oh, my Dragon's got a 3 at ward save.
All these things I'd never considered, and now am. The Lawmaster's sort of like the unloved child.
I love the Lawmaster as a concept.
Yeah,
Like, love the idea of a lord that's fair, like a lord that's somewhere between a wizard and a combat character, knows all the signatures, but he's just not very good.
He's very expensive, and
He's very expensive. He's a
level
two.
2 for a Lord slot, and that hybrid
And
of
he's not a combat.
yeah, he can't. His fighting's not very good. He's 3 attacks, weapon skill 6. You have to give him the book and something else to get the most out of his casting because he's only level 2. So he does suffer. You can take him for a laugh, but he does suffer compared to everything else.
He's comfortably the worst point for point option of the High Elf Lords.
but I don't think that necessarily makes him bad. He's just
Oh no,
bad in comparison.
it doesn't. It's still a High Elf.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him about C.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah,
C.
no, I agree.
He's not a
Yeah,
bad
I mean,
choice. Just
He's still got every signature.
yeah,
And he's LD9?
yeah. The
LD9.
fact he's got a spell is awesome because that means he can adapt to any army he's facing.
Yeah, I love all the signatures. Used to run it on me Lizard Men a lot. And like anything else, you can Spirit Leech. Fans of the channel knows I love Spirit Leech.
I've noted Spirit Leech is number 1 spell. Who's next? Chaos Lord.
Once again, you don't see the Chaos Lord very often because he isn't as good as a different option in the same army book.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you put him on, I would say he's either A or B because I would say the optimal choice is a Disc of Tzinch with a 4 ward.
Or a 3 we rolled him once.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's going to be that combo, isn't it? And you stick a Crown of Command on him, and he's just not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you talking about optimum build. He's got to be an A because he's just going to not go anywhere, and he is an absolute combat beast.
Yeah, and
just because he's a Chaos Warrior.
He brings a lot to that army simply because you can chuck him into anything. He's not going to die. He'll hold it up for the entire game while the rest of your army can go wherever it wants. And so he can pin down pretty much anything and kill. Give him a great weapon, off he goes. Because he'll have a 1-up or a 2-up, and then a 3-up set, a ward save, strength 7.
Yeah, he's so versatile. So you can build him in several different ways, but in every way that you build, or most ways that you build him, he's competitive.
Yeah, his profile's really good as well. Toughness 5, 5 attacks, weapon skill 8.
Yeah,
he's
just a beast. He's just a beast.
And then the Chaos Sorcerer. They were not particularly bad in combat either for a sorcerer. And they can.
No, they're quite pricey.
They are.
Reserves. They're quite expensive. Again, I don't know. You put a Sorcerer Lord, and then you then start thinking about which god option you go with, because if you make them like Zenith, then his spell options are fairly rubbish. Well, not rubbish. It's metal.
It's not really spell options, is it? It's you're taking metal.
No, you're not going to take Zenith. You want to spend your time casting Gateway, which I'm okay with, obviously.
Yeah. Whenever I take a Sorcerer Lord, I look at him and then put him back on the shelf and pick up a Chaos Lord or a Demon Prince.
Yeah, I don't think he brings enough to the table for that army.
He's still a solid caster because he can fight a bit. He's got armor.
I mean, he's better than
the battle mage, I suppose.
He's better than a battle mage. He's better than a law master. He's a B.
I would have
Probably.
said C.
C?
Simply because he's a better fighter and stuff than the battle mage, but the battle mage has access to 8 laws and he doesn't.
I suppose, yeah, he's not as versatile.
He's only got a few laws that are half decent. I mean, metal's alright, but it's situational.
So once as you start
the other
changing
one's
which god he
he's
is,
not got great leadership.
Yeah, LD8.
Yeah.
So
let's go with that. And this next one, I don't think there's much.
This next character is what the S tier was actually made for. He's actually S plus.
If there was one above, we
should just drop everything down and just leave the Demon Prince at the top by himself. Quite frankly, he's the single most broken thing in the game.
An unfathomable decision to not make him demonic unstable. You can't kill him. The Demon Prince difficult. In the Warriors book.
The only downside is he's only got a 5-up ward, and you can't make it better. You can re-roll the 1 if you give him to Tzeentch, but that's it. And you're not going to give him to Tzeentch because you're going to give him Nurgle. So,
yes, you are. 99% of the time you're going to make him Nurgle, or you make him Slanesh just because you like the cacophonic choir people.
We take 2?
Yeah.
Take one of each?
We take 2 because you're a real hero.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. He's Nurgle. He's on death. He's a level 4 on death magic.
So you can't hit him because he's Nurgle. You can't wound him if you hit him. He's got a ward save, which can... No, he doesn't do the demon table, does he? He's unbreakable. He's not running away, and he's got Thunderstomp. And
he's got take enough wounds off him that he's not going to kit them all back with Soul Feeder.
Yeah. So I don't know what the answer to that guy is.
The answer is don't let him get into combat. It's shoot and magic him before he gets anywhere. If he's on the table, he's the number 1 target.
You know what he doesn't appreciate? He doesn't appreciate a Terrorgeist screaming at him.
To be fair, Scott, not many things do.
Just saying it. I've just thrown it out there.
Because if he's leadership 9.
If it doesn't matter, that's 2d6 minus 3 for your Terrorgeist on full wounds. He's dying. Sooner or later, he's dying. Depends how many zombies you're feeding him from a Soul Feeder to keep him alive. But yeah, I mean, he is the most powerful character in the game, and I genuinely think he should have a tier all by himself.
Put him on a shelf on the side, his own.
Just drop everything else lower, just to make the Demon Prince stand out as completely broken.
S plus. No, because I want the Archmage to be at the top. That's my own personal prejudice.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, as you say, that the Demon Prince in the Demon Book is so much worse.
It's just a hot mess. The Chaos Warrior Demon Prince is just sitting there like, everything you are, but better in every single way.
And he started off as a mortal as well.
He started off as a mortal. It's just ridiculous.
He's broke the game, broke the system.
He's outrageous.
Well, that's not questionable where he's ended up. The Dark Elves, Dreadlord, that's their prince equivalent, I think.
Well, he's the same, except he can reroll 1s, but he can't ride a Star Dragon.
No, but you don't often put him on a dragon, though, do you? You put him on a Pegasus and give him the Cloak of Twilight.
Cloak of Twilight, and then he just goes and kills whatever he touches in first round of combat with his lance. Or his Ogre Blade.
Yeah, and it's like, what should I kill today? And I'll just fly around until I get into target, and then bam, it's gone.
Yeah. The thing is, I suppose, you're right, but you don't see them that often because you can do something similar with a Master, and then you're taking a level 4.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Or with Dark Elves, you're taking a special character.
You should be able to fit a level 4 and the Lord.
Yeah, I think you probably can on a Pegasus, to be honest.
On a Pegasus, yeah.
It's really pushing your Lord allowance, but I think you actually can.
I haven't seen them much often because, like you're saying, there's nothing much you can do with them that you can't do with a Master or a load of Masters. Fast cavalry.
That's true, but it doesn't make him bad. He's still very good.
Oh,
it's just
I mean, he's also still a Dark Elf with that
everything.
With these 4 attacks.
Everything that comes with it. ASF, rerolling ones, hate with high elves.
reroll. Yeah.
I would say he's up there on the A because well kitted out. He's, as you say, he's almost unkillable from range, and he gets to wherever he wants to go. And he's annoying. You can't catch him.
This
Yeah.
Supreme Sorceress, is that what they're called? I don't think she's as good as the Archmage because she hasn't got access to as good items as he has.
I would disagree.
I'm putting it
Not
out
that
there.
dagger. It's quite
The sacrificial dagger.
Kill her own men.
yeah, hilarious. Butcher more.
Power!
Yeah.
Power!
He's got Power of Darkness isn't a bad spell to get extra dice if you need it. But I love Dark Magic as a lore. I think it's fantastic.
To be honest, I'm kind of with you, but I do probably think it's just that she's not as good as the high elf one.
Yeah,
just
no,
purely
I'd
because
probably
of the
go sort of A range. I don't think she's quite.
Yeah,
Just because the high magic and stuff brings so much more to the high elf list than she does with the dark magic, because there are other things like warlocks that can kind of substitute almost for her in a way.
yeah. But down to level 4, you can always have 2 units of warlocks.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think A is probably about right for her. And the Lord that I've never seen, the Beastmaster.
Oh, I've seen him before riding a manticore,
Mm.
like a hero. Not the slot.
That says a Lord. But...
He's not. He's. I don't know. I don't know what your opinion is. He's not. He's only ever going to get used in a themed or fluffy list. He's never going to get used in a competitive.
I mean,
one.
I'd put him as a D.
Yeah, I think he's rubbish.
Yeah, I think it's not. Yeah, what are you going to take? These characters are probably going to get more use. The C grade is going to get more out of them.
You can put him on a crappy toughness 4 chariot. You can put him on a monster which is frenzied, so you can lure it away with.
We can't even
Not
we
great
can't even write
toughness or armor.
a particularly good monster, can he?
Compared to this,
Yeah, well, compared to the mount options we're talking about previously, he's not good.
Considering it's a Beastmaster, which is weird.
Yes.
yeah, he's about there. And then the really weird one, is he a Fleet Master? This guy, can't remember what they're called.
I think so. And to be honest, I don't really know his rules because I've never ever
seen one before.
The only one I know is he can only take 50 points of magic items.
Oh,
and
that's put
if he wins
straight away.
If he wins the challenge, he makes his unit.
No, is it not? If it's in a challenge, he makes a unit. Oh yeah, if he wins a challenge, he makes a unit like stubborn or
Unbreakable, I think.
something.
Yeah. Which is so niche that
I've never seen one.
I've never seen him. I'm throwing him in a D just because he's still an elf.
Yeah.
So he's still got the SF and he's a dark elf with all the goodness that comes with that, but otherwise he's just.
You've got to hobble yourself and take fewer magic items to get into a challenge to get a buff which may or may not help you that much for one turn.
Yeah.
Stuff is against her. I'd rather take any of this than that.
Oh yeah.
Wood Elves and the Glade Lord. I think that's what he's called.
He is indeed.
On a Horus Dragon, which is probably the only time you'd see him. Maybe.
I used to run him every now. I used to run one every now and then on a giant stag just for the lols, and I like the model.
True, but that's kind of in my kind of Napoleon halfling section.
Oh, it's absolutely a Napoleon halfling option. He's again, you're not going to take him. You're going to take a spell weaver.
This is the thing with elves is all of them.
Or you're not going to take any lords.
Yeah, I mean, on a dragon though, it's still a dragon, which is decent.
Yes, it's still a dragon.
Don't they have access to all them sniping bows and Hail of Doom arrow and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's basically what my Wood Elf Lord on a dragon's got. So that's why I'd kind of put him in a B. He still can fly around on.
Oh yeah, I think he's still a B, still an elf at the end of the day as well, with all
Yeah.
the goodness that comes with that.
Legion
And like you say, he can ride a dragon.
It does sort of suffer as well that all his elf well, not all of them, but a lot of his elf bonuses depend on him being in a forest, which he may or may not be.
Yeah, he's. I think the point is he's comparable to the high and dark versions, but worse.
That's fair. That's like the Wood Elves in
I think
general.
his mount options are comparable, but not as good.
I think that runs over to they spell singers or spell weavers.
Spellweaver.
Not as I don't think as good as their higher dark equivalents.
What I don't know, but what I don't know.
No,
They don't have
it's
they don't have
at least an A.
It's at least an A because they've got access to both high and dark magic.
That's true. And you would probably just put them in a unit in a forest and keep them there.
You give them the Book of Asher, put them in the forest, and suddenly they're +6 to cast.
Yeah, and they're casting whatever they want.
Yeah,
fine. You say I'll concede.
I don't think they're an A. Sorry, I don't think they're a star tier. Sorry, I think they're an A.
Yeah,
I think
they're an A. They're up there with the good.
Oh
casters, yeah.
They're up there with one of the best characters. Like that's the Lord option you see in a Wood Elf army.
Yeah, it's the fact they get +1 to cast in the wood, and you get a free wood. Yeah, it's no brainer.
To be fair, when I had Miles, that was the Lord I was taking.
Shadow makes
on Shadow magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a Spellweaver on Shadow. That was my high elf. That was my Wood Elf Lord.
I see a lot of them. You double them up. It's like one on high, one on shadow, or stuff like that.
Yeah, Wood Elves you do often see double level 4, to be honest.
And the Treeman Ancient. Hooray, a flammable lord.
For me, it's about a C.
I think he's as good as he's still a Treeman at the end of the day.
Still,
I suppose.
I think he's a legit 10 stubborn Treeman who can heal himself.
Yeah, he's really expensive and flammable.
Yes, but if you're not against flaming stuff, he's a toughness 6 stubborn 10 model that can heal himself, so he can pin anything all day long. Well, at least pin a lot of things all day long. So he is quite useful, and you do need effort to take him down. And if
he's only level 3 as well,
you can make him a level 4 on life, which is always quite good.
But if their life's only worth taking on a level 4 as well.
Yeah,
that's more points for him as well.
Yeah, he's a big points thing. But to be fair, so's the high up prince on a Star Dragon, so we're not really talking about points.
The Star Dragon can fly.
Yes, that's true.
But at the end of the day, yeah, as you say, he's flammable. He's only weapon skill 4 and all that kind of stuff. I think 3 attacks.
3 attacks.
So he's not a combat monster, but he is. You don't use him as a hammer; you use him as an anvil, and as an anvil, he's pretty good. But
yeah, he's a decent anvil. He's what 5 wounds, I think.
I haven't got me Wood Elf.
6. I can't remember.
No, you're right. I think he's probably a C. To be fair, he's better than a Fleet Master.
Yeah, I think that's a bit. I wouldn't push him down there.
Look at it that way.
The dwarfs next. That is a Rune Lord. Now, I don't really know much about dwarfs other than you can probably not take any lords at all. But
I quite like Rune Lords, but I'm in the minority.
This is the one. Is this the one you see more? The Rune Lord.
Yes. Of all the dwarf lords, the only one you ever see normally is either the unkillable dwarf lord on where he's like 1,000,000 wounds and toughness 1,000,000 that just doesn't die, doesn't do anything ever, but he doesn't die. But the one you actually see competitively is if you see any, is the Rune Lord.
I'd say I don't think you do, because a Rune Smith basically brings most of what he brings anyway, and is a lot cheaper. The only thing you're getting over a Rune Smith and Rune Lord is MR2, and I think more points to spend on kit.
Runes.
So most people, if they're going to go for a Rune Lord, they just take a Rune Smith instead. Because he's not,
you only
not
ever see
bitey.
the Rune Lord if you're going for a Highlander list, really, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I quite like him because he brings MR2, which is quite nice.
Gives armor piercing as well.
Cheap. Yeah, but so does a Rune Smith.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what I mean.
But I just mean taking him on, he's on not in comparison to anything else, just as a Lord in general. It's quite a nice buff.
He's not great, but he's not bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's still a dwarf.
Yeah, and he's got 150 points worth of runes he can take, so you can make him even more unkillable than the Dwarf Lord. So
yeah, you can go to town on him.
You're definitely a C, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Middle of the road. Is this the Dragon Slayer?
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. Sorry.
Demon Slayer.
I don't know. They're all similar.
Just give him the Master Rune of Flight, isn't that right, Steve?
Yeah, it is. 100%. Rune of Flight, Rune of Might, done. There you go. S.
And the poor guy just literally gets killed off Bowfire.
Well,
got no armor save at all, no ward save. Sorry,
the last
talismanic tattoos.
The last tournament I took him to, he killed a Nurgle Demon Prince in 2 rounds. So yeah,
nice.
He shot him with his Rune of Flight.
Get in.
The Demon Priest stupidly charged the unit, so he shot him again and killed him. Because he does the D3 wounds to monsters, and they have to re-roll the ward saves. So he's like an amazingly good mobile flinger, but he's got no save. +5. So he's kind of...
He's very expensive as well, isn't he?
Yes, at best. He's a fun choice, not a good choice.
Yeah. I mean, is he arguably a D? Because actually...
Arguably. Yeah.
If you get into combat with him, although he's cool, but you're going to hit him first because he's a dwarf.
The only reason I'd say he's a C is because you can give him the Rune of Might and the Rune of Flight, and that gives him kind of I think it's a 15 or even an 18 range, where if you do have a monster, you don't really want to go near it.
That's quite situational.
That is quite useful.
If there is a monster near and you take these things, it may work out for you.
If you're aiming to kill monsters, dwarves have got a lot of easier ways to do it.
That's true.
Their entire army book essentially says, take a monster, I'm going to shoot it off the table.
They're a lot longer range than 18.
Could give him, ASF, Rune of Might on his weapon. So he's always striking first, usually at strength 8. So he will do some damage. It's just, and I think if you give him 2 runes of might, he does D3 wounds as well to everything. So he can be a kind of charge me and I will mess you up. And if I'll probably kill you, but if I don't, then yes, I will die. But he's still quite handy. He's somewhere to C and a D, I think.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
D plus C minus. Well, is he as good as a Rune Lord, or is he worse?
In my mind, he's level, but I can understand if you want to put him in a D, I wouldn't necessarily disagree.
He's just so easily killed.
That's the problem.
He's got no save at
die
all.
To bowfire.
I mean, every Lord can die to bowfire. He just does it more easily than the others.
There's one step that you don't have to go through to kill them with bowfire.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be leaning towards D from a competitive point.
Yeah, probably. If you're doing a proper competitive list, you wouldn't take him.
No. I just then the next one, then the Dwarf Lord, purely because of what build you can make him that the unkillable Dwarf Lord.
You can, but what does that put him in?
That's the question, isn't it? Because essentially, he's just not ever going to die, and he's going to dish out 4 strength 6 attacks.
You'd probably put a Rune of Might on him because that's the standard one. So if your opponent's got toughest 5,
Rune of Might on him if you
strength
make him
8.
fully unkillable?
It's only like 25 points. You've still got 100 points to make him unkillable.
Yeah.
You give him the
I mean,
shield.
at max, I think. Yeah, I think at max he's a B.
Absolutely at max.
At
I would
max,
probably lean more.
in reality, I
B.
think he's a C. I think he's a C.
Yeah.
Again, is he better or the same as the Rune Lord?
I think he's
Very
almost on a par.
comparable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they bring different things. The issue is, in general, with board options, nothing you're taking them for, you can't do.
A hero.
It's kind of suffered, isn't it? Like all these are doing so much for their army at the Lord level, but you can
Because the thing
replicate.
is, if you can make him killy, but then he's movement 3, so he's not going to get to anywhere you need to get to. Or you can make him unkillable, and then he's just a big point sink, which everyone looks at him and goes, "Oh, I'm not going to kill him, so I'll just avoid him."
And the things,
So
you see, you make them killy. You
what
can
they
just
miss
make,
is
you
the
can just
master in the challenge.
cameras. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think the old Dwarf Lords options, like in the older book, were just much better.
Master in a challenge in with the Dwarf Lord. That was really good in the old book. This one, he's not a bad choice, but he's not a particularly good choice.
And if I've seen this
Yeah.
previously when I used to play against dwarves, you don't. If he's not unkillable, you just go for the unit if they're not stubborn, and if they flee, he still dies.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can kill the unit around him, and then suddenly, because he's not stubborn, you might be testing on -5 or 6.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's a C. What he does well, he does very, very well. But that's all he does.
And then he doesn't even bring leadership 10 because the Thanes bring leadership 10, so you're not taking him to be.
Yeah, so that's what I mean with dwarfs. Almost everything their lords bring, you can just bring almost as good for much cheaper with a hero option.
So these are the demons options. The Greater Demon of Nurgle.
I quite like. I'd go for a B.
Yeah, I would go for a B because he's still a demon.
Still
He's
a demon.
big
It's tough.
toughness 7, strength 6, toughness 7, 6 wounds. I think on him. He's LD 9. He can take either Nurgle magic or death, and he's surprisingly quick.
Surprisingly quick. He's hard to kill, and he's actually got some of the better demon weapon options. I think there's one that gives him D3 wounds or something.
Yeah, he
poison
retains
or
poison,
something.
D3 wounds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is really good. And,
yeah, I think
So-
he's a B. He can't join units. He's one cannon away from death. He can only have a 5 ward save. He's got no armor.
That's
He's got all the weaknesses that all the
regen,
demons
though,
do.
I think, can he? Or does he get fort regen?
No, he's just got a 5 ward. He can't have regen.
He can certainly cast regen on himself, can't he? There's one of the Nurgle spells regen.
I mean, if you take a Nurgle instead of death, like a loser.
Spirit
I've always
Leech.
wanted to take Nurgle on a Demon Prince, level 4 Nurgle, just to run around and laugh when I get up to like toughness 10, wounds 10.
Toughness 10.
Get that low attribute on. The Keeper of Secrets.
I was tempted to say I think the Kipper's the best demon. Greater demon.
Could be. Again, I would go B.
On fly.
Because he can't fly.
On a level. So it's the B. He's got the best magic.
Yeah, best magic, and
he's amazing. He's a good character. But he flies, so you can get chuffed up.
yeah, Seth, isn't he, as well? So
And
he's got
he's
some
the
good base rules. And his demon. Yeah,
Yes.
you're only that 5 at ward save away from. Is he not?
No.
Don't
You've got to give.
say no.
You've got to roll. You've either got to roll ASF or take the ASF sword.
All right. I only looked at Zinch. It's only demons I'm interested in. Where's next? The Corn one. Bloodthirster.
But it sounds a bit of a book record. I think he's a B.
No. It's shockingly, but yeah, I think he is.
Like I think pretty much that they're all very much on a level for various different reasons.
Because he's got a massive stat line and he can fly, but Khorne, so no magic, and he does wear armor though.
Not much.
Is
I
it
think it's only heavy armor.
Not any armor worth note.
Might save him a
Most
couple of
armor.
strength 3 bow shots. He might save a few from that.
But I think they're all on a par because the Nurgle one's toughness with more wounds. The Kipper's fast and a good fighter but can't fly, but can have magic. The Bloodthirster is a great fighter and can have good weapons and can fly, but he can't have magic. And the Lord of Change is kind of in between all of them.
Somewhere in
he
between.
Can fly, he can fight, he can cast. But in order for him to be a really good fighter, he needs to cast a lot with the wand.
Yeah, that wand's a great item.
Yeah, it's all about the wand. Because once, if it goes well in a couple of turns and he's got 10 attacks and stuff, then
it's that
The
bird's
only problem
going
is
psycho.
I would say he's got access to the weaker of the
worst magic.
the door choices.
Because Zenith's rubbish with the exception of Gateway, and Metal is, I personally really like, but very situational.
It's not great on a demon army anyway, because +1 to hit for shoot. There's no shooting, and they're not. Well, his demons aren't particularly good in combat anyway. For enchanted blades,
that's a very nice way of saying that Zenith got screwed over in 8th edition.
I love Zenith, and I'm going to stick with them anyway.
Yeah,
Zenith's my favourite god, but he got screwed in 8th because they were so outrageously good in 7th.
Yeah, they're no longer long.
The next came along with the nerf patch and gave him a good spanking.
Yeah, they really did, didn't they?
And here's the also ran in the demons, the demon prince, not S tier by all accounts.
No, if he's not a D, he's trash.
The only thing you can bring to the table is you can make him love Slanesh,
Fly
and
and
give
level
him
4.
a level 4 cacophonic choir. So he's just a mobile cac bomb, which is
But then you're paying like
phenomenal.
400 points.
Oh, he's really expensive. Yeah. Or you make him Nurgle, put him on death, and he's just a mobile purple sun thrower. But he's still a shit version.
He's not unbreakable.
Of the Chaos Warrior one.
Can only get a 4 up.
You can only get a 4 up. You can charge him with anything that's got ranks, and he's just going to pop eventually.
You can combat res him to death. So
yeah,
not great.
Yeah, you just do not see any of them ever. Like, I think he's. I think I wouldn't put him as low as trash because like he actually can be a fly and level 4 caster.
I think it's just in comparison to this.
The issue is you look at him, you look at the Chaos Warrior one, and then you have to ask the question, what were you thinking?
Yeah, he suffers in comparison to all of it. I mean, taking on his merits individually, but compared to all of the greater demons.
Yeah, I mean, he's also toughness 5. 4 wounds.
It's just, I weep for him. I do.
Bolt throw him off the table.
You could sneeze him off the table.
What a guy.
Rip Demon Prince from the actual demon book, who was a demon and is created from part of one of the gods, as opposed to a human that just got promoted.
Yeah.
Chaos is fickle.
Indeed.
The Slan is up next. He's
I love me the big fat toad.
Yeah, he's very good, and he's very adaptable in the like he's got his items and the disciplines that he can take as well. So
he's I mean the issue is, I mean, I'll preface it, he's not as good as the old Slan of 7th edition.
Say that he's not nearly as good as the old one. For someone who's meant to be
the greatest caster
one
ever,
of the best casters ever, he is so woeful at meeting that level.
Like Unlike the 7th ed, which definitely carried that comfortably.
Yeah, when you could throw an extra dice on every spell and all this, it was ridiculous.
Oh, that from
You
6.
could have one being your general. You'd have your one being your general on life, and the other one, and they take a second one flying around that was ethereal on death.
Yeah, just
Those
crazy.
are the days.
But he's still good.
He's still good. He's still a level 4 that comes automatically with a 4-up
and he
board.
makes Temple Guard stubborn and all that kind of stuff, but he's not nearly the powerhouse caster he used to be. And he's not up with the other powerhouse casters either, because he hasn't got anything that allows him to get bonuses to cast or anything that allows him to get extra dice. The only thing he can get is, he can channel with 3 dice. Is that it? I think.
Yeah,
you take the channel.
The only thing he can do where he can.
And you have to take a Temple Guard, otherwise he's gonna die.
He goes in the front rank with non-Temple Guard. Is that?
Yeah. You can only hide in Temple Guard.
So for that,
he's still a B.
Yeah, I'd put him a B.
He's still like the best caster outside of the elf casters.
And he can be BSB as well, but then that's if you run away from the combat, he's now dead.
Just make him BSB, give him Wandering Deliberations because all the signatures are cool. Make him BSB, give him the LD banner, and then you've got LD 10 Death Snipes.
They're just converting everything to being a Spirit Leech production factory.
An alternative perspective to that is to give him a Lore Master on high and make
just
him all that.
Swap it into Death Magic for Spirit Leech.
Spirit Leech, and then you've got all high magic and Spirit Leech.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Lore Master of High is actually obviously the better option because their Lore attribute swapping it out is very powerful as well. And I think that's why you could argue about how powerful he can be.
He's super flexible, but
he can answer any army at any time.
Yeah.
Without any concerns.
He just hasn't got any bonuses to casting, so he'll be outcast by, I think, anything in the A and S level.
Yeah, you're going to get outcast by the elves.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, considering the Slan apparently taught their magic.
It is ironic. Yeah.
It's just the
it's no longer the master.
Yeah, the student outshining the master.
Gets to a certain age, though, like they've been around a while, the Slan, like they're tired. And maybe it's the world's gotten a bit colder in the old world, so they're amphibious, so that they've slowed down.
You just look at Croak. He's so dim now he only remembers one spell.
But what a spell!
It is what a spell, indeed.
The Old Blood. He's the next one.
I actually love the Old Blood, to be honest.
I think the fact that he can so easily get a 1-up armor save on the fort board, so easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's an enchanted shield, I think, and he's there.
Yeah.
On foot.
Yeah.
So the fact that he can tool him up with a 1-up, 4-up for 50 points, and then he's already strength 5, toughness 5. Give him an ogre blade on foot. You've got a 4. Is it 4 or 5 attacks? I can't remember.
5 attacks.
I think it's 5.
It's 5 base with predatory fighter.
5 base with predatory fighter. 1-up, 4-up, strength 7. He can be a beast.
You can make him
a cold one. He's amazing.
Put him on a cold one. Make him a 1-up, 4-up. Give him the Crown of Command. And
he's not going anywhere ever.
Never going to go anywhere, and he'll eventually kill whatever he's touching. Ish.
Even
Crown of Command on cold-blooded as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got 5 attacks at strength 7. 5 attacks minimum at strength 7.
And he's got the option of a Carnosaur if you wanted to go that way.
Of course you do, because why the hell wouldn't you put him on a Carnosaur?
I think
put a cannon off the board.
Yeah. The Carnosaur's the fun choice. If you're going competitive, I think the cold one.
Cold one. Cold one all day for competitive.
Yeah, and an Old Blood on a cold one with a Crown of Command, I reckon, is right there on the A.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think it's just outrageous. It's surprisingly cheap as well.
Yeah,
he's a really good combat.
You just going to chop. I don't know. Let's take an outrageous death. Let's take the Witch Elf Death Star. As long as it doesn't have Hellebron in, you can go into that comfortably.
Yeah, and slowly chew through them.
Go into the White Lion. Your White Lion Horde. He doesn't have a magic weapon, so he's going to just chop White Lions down until the game's finished, because he's going nowhere.
I would certainly send him in with a chance of killing Lariel before he gets chopped up, because he probably will eventually, with strength 6 and the amount of strength 6 that hitting him.
Yeah, I suppose he'd have 2 4-ups.
Yeah.
But if he's on his little carnosaur, you've got a turn to get him into the side, and there's not that many attacks coming back, and that they really are pinned at that point.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think in that build, like the 1-up, 4-up, stubborn, he's 8 tier. It's 5 attack, strength 7 as well. It's
loads of attacks that for.
It's incredible.
And the potential of generating even more. Here's your favourites, Scott. Here, the Tomb King.
No, they're not, because everything about the actual tomb, the Lord options is just upsetting, isn't it, Steve?
I quite like the Tomb King.
I like the Tomb King.
I'd put him in as a C.
I think he's a C. He's still he's strength 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds. He's only got 4 attacks base.
4 attacks, I think. Yeah.
4 attacks base. Weapon skill 6. He's flammable, so he automatically comes with the Dragonbane gem.
Yeah, they hand them out much like they hand out the
Books of Hoth.
Yeah, Books of Hoth. So
every pyramid comes with a bin full of Dragonbane gems.
And he makes the Skeleton Warriors or whatever unit he's in reasonable.
Skill 6.
So,
the issue is everything he does, give or take, you can get just as good with a Tomb Prince.
Yeah, that's the same.
I don't think he can, because Tomb Prince is a strength 4.
That's true, but you're probably going to give him a great weapon anyway.
You might give a king a great weapon, but with a Tomb Prince, you either got to give him a ward save or you give him an armor save. But with a king, you can do both.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
So he is a lot more tanky than a Tomb Prince. A Tomb Prince is very much killable. A Tomb King is a lot less killable. Or
you give him the Destroyer of Eternities because you're that guy.
Yeah, I've done that before. It's fun.
Of course you have, Steve. You've looked and thought,
yep.
Why the hell not?
Destroyer of Eternities. Yeah. Come here. I'm going to smack you one.
Yeah. Or you're really ballsy and you're going to put him on a Sphinx.
That's my current build. Yeah, on a Sphinx.
I like the monster build for Tomb Kings. Just a couple of... You can do 2, can't you? Just with the Lord's Allowance.
You could. What you could do is pray that you're actually allowed to use Undead Legion so you could march, though.
Mm. But given that all that, if he's on foot and he's tanky, he is quite expensive for what he brings.
Yeah, he is.
He's still movement 4, whatever. You don't really want to put him on a chariot because the chariot unit rules are rubbish. You can kill the chariot dead easy and then he's walking on his own.
Yeah.
You don't particularly want to put him on a Sphinx because then he kicks off all the crew for some reason and he's sat on his own.
You lot, get him.
He's a king. You can't put him on the same level as Tomb.
Yeah, you'd at least think someone would be around, like fanning him or something. But no, on his side.
He gets on his Sphinx and he just goes, "You lot, off."
Yeah. So
big lads.
It's a C because it's expensive what he brings, but he's still solid.
Yeah, he's no. To be honest, comparatively, you can comfortably compare him, give or take, with what a Dwarf Lord does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's kind of on that level. He's not a must take for the army anyway.
No, there's this one. I don't think the Leech High Priest. If you take him, if you take
the
one,
demand that he has to be Nehekara.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you take him, he's got to be Nehekara. And then if you want a light wizard or a death wizard, you have to take another one for level 4.
It's why you do quite often see double level 4s in the Tomb King.
I'd put him in a D because you can get some arcane items, which like the Mighty Scrolls, which helps a lot, which is a good item. But you've got to take 2. And if you want a level 4 on anything other than Nekara, so it's that which pushes him below, I think, down.
Yeah, if we're seeing a level 4 of a standard level 4 with i.e. the Empire as a C, then I think he's a D because of how restrictive he is.
Yeah.
You gotta take a redundant one just to get the level 4 that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you'd have to take Nekakara, or it had the same rules as Law of the Maw, and you could, as long as one wizard was on Nekakara, I think
It'd be
you
up
could start
much
pumping up.
better.
Yeah.
And even though they've been practicing these spells for thousands of years, they're not plus anything to them.
They got lazy.
You know, bring back Sixth, where they weren't even really casters.
Yeah, that was the best one.
Bound items or bound spells.
They were essentially just walking bound spells.
Yeah, that it just made the Tomb King magic phase so much unique.
It's relentless.
And relentless. Yeah, it's like it was like a chanting kind of.
You can't stop them all.
Yeah,
it upsets us. Look at how low. Look at them sitting there, C's and D's, and I can't even argue about it. Poor little buggers.
Well,
poor flammable guys.
they're not meeting the Empire General, so they're doing
Nothing's beating the Empire General. He's just so utterly trash.
Doing all right. What is this? I think that is a Night Goblin Great Shaman.
I put that as a D.
Yeah, because he's cool, but he is a Night Goblin Great Shaman.
The problem is his
and you can only take Law of the Little One.
It's also his negative.
Yeah,
because he gets the bonus mushrooms with the great. He can also, on his first casting roll, a 1 on the mushroom, and that's him done for the phase.
So there's a 1 in 6 chance of your phase ending immediately.
Yeah, exactly. At some point in the game, on average, your phase is going to end on the first spell you attempt with him.
No, I'm with you. I think he's a D.
And for that, it's a D. I would always take 2 level 2s over level 4 if you're taking a Night Goblin.
I agreed for me with Night Goblins for sure.
This is out of order, but that's the normal Goblin Great Shaman.
Obviously on an Arachnarok.
On an Arachnarok, the shrine.
Yeah.
I think that bumps him up quite a bit because that's a fun thing to do with him.
Fun, but it's not competitive at all. Yeah, I think he's just. I think
he's a Lawmaster Little War.
Yeah. I would say a C.
Yeah,
he's a solid level 4. He's quite cheap.
Yeah,
he doesn't bring anything special to the table, much like an Empire.
He's a C on the Arachnarok Spider for clarity.
I would say it's a C normally.
Would you?
Yeah, because he's
just for how cheap he is. Yeah, and Law of the Law is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a decent law.
Yeah,
and you can't fluff the casting with.
Yeah, exactly. You can't fluff the casting, so he's more reliable.
And like you say, for the price of 1 Empire level 4, which I appreciate, you can mix and match your thingies. You can get 2 Goblin level 4s.
I think it's a way to fit 2 Arachnaroks into your list if you wanted to.
3.
3, yeah.
3 or nothing.
What is this? I think that's a Night Goblin big Warlord. What are they called? Should get John on here. He knows his goblins. Whatever the Lord level Night Goblin is.
War Boss.
War Boss, that's it.
Yeah.
I
don't know which one it is.
The Night Goblin version?
He's 1 lesser leadership, I think, and 1 higher initiative.
Yeah, 1 less leadership than Goblin, 1 higher initiative. He's super cheap.
I was going to say, what he's got is he's mega cheap.
Yeah, he doesn't bring anything else over a Night Goblin hero, though, really.
Nah.
Except, and the only reason this is the reason I would argue for B, is you can put the wizarded hat on him.
And it is the only way of getting magic that's not Little War.
Yeah, and I think he's is it 55 points for a Lord?
I'll tell you.
I think the level 4 with the wizarding hat and some just standard kit comes in at 164 something like that.
Yeah, the Night Goblin Lord with the wizarding hat. It's just slightly more expensive than a level 2, normal level 2. And for that reason, because he gives you then the goblins access to all 8 laws of magic.
Does it just put him on a C though, and he actually just becomes a level 4 wizard?
We can kind of fight And
The Wizarding Hat's, is that 100 points?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
the most expensive item in the game.
you're thinking quite a lot into.
Yeah, I would argue B just because I love the Wizarding Hat. I think it's fun, but probably a C is about right.
And you're now testing for stupidity on a like Goblin leadership.
Well, you wouldn't be because he wouldn't be your only Goblin
Not
Lord.
your general.
Yeah, you'd
This
have
guy's a lunatic. He's got the
he
wizard.
wouldn't be the general.
So I'm thinking because my friend plays mono Goblin list, so
Yeah, if you play mono goblins, which I do a lot, your Goblin war boss is your warlord is your general. He's leadership 8, and you probably have a BSB with the discipline banner stood next to him, telling you how to be a better general.
It'll be fine. What do you reckon then? C or B?
No, it's definitely not a B. Get him down. Jesus Christ. He's a C. Gee, I mean, I'll let Steve have C for the wizard and hat, but you don't put him any higher than that, you crazy bugger.
That's the normal Goblin equivalent war boss.
You just haven't been there. Got when I've rolled metal when I'm playing Brett's and glorious times like that.
You say Brett's, funny enough, I've noticed Mark hasn't put Brett's on here.
Oh, I haven't.
It's all right. They're like the the Empire versions, and then we just leave it at that.
Right. Apologies to Bretonian players. That is an oversight.
So, Dr. Luke and James, and those are that couple of people who play Brett's.
Both of them.
Both of them. Sorry to both the Brett players out there.
You've got a Brett army, Scott.
No. No. And I actually think you can make some really cool Brett Lord builds. To be honest, I would compare them to a Grandmaster.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would put them in, I would for what it's worth, the Brett Lord I would put B.
I think all the Brett Lords are B.
There we go.
I'll put the Prophetess as B simply because
because she's got MR.
And you can hide her in the lance.
Yeah. There you go.
Crown of Command in the lance. Brilliant.
They're both Bs. There you go.
Downside of that is if they miscast, they hit everything. The most common result, they hit everything in the bus.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anything 7 or below, the bus is kind of screwed. But yeah.
There you go. Brett players. Game state restored.
You could argue it's a C. To be fair, the level 4.
You could. I just think the Crown of Command in the middle of a big lance. She doesn't even have to cast.
Yeah. She's just a Crown of Command carrier.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. No. There you go. Brett players, your lords are Bs.
Back to goblins. The standard goblin war boss, is he just the same as the knight?
Yeah, I would say so. It's just if you're playing all goblins, he's your go-to general, but I wouldn't say he's any better than a C.
No, he's the thing that they do have going for them are relevant to the stats, but they're just so cheap.
Yeah,
they're so
cheap. Super. But
50%
again, a lot of what you can do with him, you can do with a hero.
Yes.
What is this? I believe that is
a Die Destroyer with a goblin on a gigantic spider, though.
Yeah. Savage Orc, level 4 Shaman.
Yes, that is a Savage Orc level 4 Shaman.
Would absolutely come with the Lucky Shrunken
Of course.
Head.
Yeah.
It would absolutely be in a horde of
Savage Orc.
Yeah.
Hello, B.
Yeah. And now I've just realised we've also missed the actual Orc Shaman, but that's fine because he then just goes below him in a C.
Yeah.
Have I missed the Orc Shaman? I did have a picture for him.
Amongst the swarm.
And I just rushed it.
It's alright, he's like the Savage Orc one, except worse.
Yeah, because you can't, there's no ward save buff. What's that?
Savage Orc General? Or
Yeah, that's the Orc big boss equivalent. Savage Orc big boss equivalent.
Have you ever seen one of those?
Never.
No.
I've literally nothing to say.
Well,
if you're taking an Orc war boss, sorry.
You take an Orc or a Black Orc.
A regular Orc one or a Black Orc one, you're not taking a Savage Orc one.
Because you can't take armor or anything like that. So
trash.
I wouldn't say trash, but I'd say a D. Because he's still toughness.
He's still better than the
Better than
Empire
Empire
General.
The Empire General. I mean, come on, let's not get silly.
No, the thing is, I'll be tempted to put him in the same tier because actually, much like the Empire General, you would never take him because everyone else in the option is just so much better.
True, but the Empire General's just bad, whereas he's just not bad.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Got more attacks at least.
Yes,
He has
got
got more
a lot
attacks.
more
Yeah, no,
attacks.
you're right. Yeah.
So, and he's got the chopper rule. So even if he took him naked, he's still solid.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And he does come
And
naked.
he's actually not too expensive either.
I haven't included the regular Orc Big Boss either. War Boss.
It's all right because you're going to take a black. It's all right. You're taking a Black Orc War Boss.
Black
anyway.
Orc's here anyway, so
You don't. You actually normally you take a regular Orc War Boss, or you don't take any because you're taking a level 4, and then your BSB is the Black Orc to stop animosity.
well, animosity.
Yeah.
Anything that stops that random element slightly, I suppose, is a buff to an Orc list.
I think he's a C. He's a good, solid fighter.
Yeah, I think he's a C as well. He's he's still a good fighter. He's not a Chaos Lord level fighter.
He's not a great demon.
No, but he's at least as good as every other fighting Lord.
He's saying he's better than a Fleet Master or Demon Prince.
Oh yeah, he's a kitted up Black Orc Warlords punching for his points better than Demon Prince from Demons.
As daft as that sounds.
For one, he's not going to pop the combat res for a start.
Where would the normal War Boss go?
Probably about the same.
Yeah.
Probably a B. C, sorry, because he's for his price, he's good. He's a solid general option.
Ogre Tyrant, which you never see. Or at least I never see.
I've used one before on a flying carpet.
Yeah, I have, surprisingly.
Also on a flying carpet, Steve, yeah?
Yes.
Of course.
But I've also used him on a non-flying carpet. And the thing is, I'd say he's a C. He's a solid fighter. He's not outstanding.
He's really solid stat line and everything. The issue is you're going to take a Slaughtermaster over him every single time.
The issue is you're just not going to take Ogre Lords.
Well, yeah, there is that as well.
I never do, anyway.
You never do, but in its standard a competitive build, if you're going to take a Lord, you take a Slaughtermaster.
Yeah.
You're never going to take a Tyrant.
There's no real item they've got either. Is that's really good to take?
No, there used to be one, but that got changed or whatever. I think the Stone Crusher Mace used to be quite good or something like that.
You used to have to take a Tyrant before you could take a Slaughtermaster.
Yeah, and there used to be things like there was the Yeti Pelt in the previous book where he got -1 to hit, which is quite a good unit on him, item on him. So if you took that and the Trickster's Helm, for example, and give him the Stupidity big name, which gives him +1 toughness, you could make some seriously solid builds. So toughness 6, you're re-rolling to wound, and you're -1 to hit. With that kind of setup with a great weapon, you can take on Bloodthirsters and the like. But
sadly not anymore.
Sadly not anymore. Now he's just a reasonably solid thing, but unfortunately, bruisers probably bring almost as much to the party as he does, and he costs more. So
yeah, he's very expensive.
He is. So I wouldn't say he's D because he's still solid. You only don't see him because he's expensive, and if you're going to take a competitive Overlord, you're going to take a Slaughtermaster.
Yeah.
C, do you reckon then? Mid-tier?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
No.
It's always
very rarely.
It's always the Bruiser.
Very
rarely. Then
he's
the Slaughtermaster.
Leadership 9.
He's level 9, yeah. Slaughtermasters are just good. They're just good.
It's not.
They can access, but more is decent.
It's quite a good loft, especially for the ogres.
Beasts is very good. Heavens is good.
I put Slaughtermaster as a B. I think he's on a par with a Slan.
I think he's a B. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a Slan. I think he's very comparable to a Slan.
And he has got some good magic items, which can really boost his magic phase. He's
And-
one of the few people who can take the Forbidden Rod.
I was going to say, there's that. He's one of the few ones that can do that, and under their low attribute will heal him up for using it as well.
Exactly.
That's a nice
Or you
synergy.
can take the stick away, hacks at his mates to get extra casting bonuses.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Until they get mad and beat him up.
They get mad and kill him, yeah.
Sorry, though.
But, yeah.
You struggle to fit that in because he also has his glittering scales.
Offensive blades.
Offensive blades.
Offensive blades.
Yeah. He can take armor, which is good. Which is an oversight, but
Rules as written, not rules as intended.
Yeah, but he's a B, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, he's definitely on a par with the Slan that level.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that they're better than your generic casters, but they're not quite their powerhouse casters that the other ones are.
Here's Scott's section here. Strigoi Ghoul King.
Scott, Steve's a filthy VC player as well.
Used to be, used to be. Until, I saw the error of my ways.
On it, just rolling with goblins with wizards and hands.
Redemption.
I ran out of buckets to carry it around with the tears of my opponents after I played VC for too long.
No, it's. I mean, I love the Strigoi, to be fair, and I also love mounting him on a Terrorgeist.
Strigoi is my favourite Vampire Lord.
Yeah,
sure.
I even just love the sort of a one on foot, or with the flight option just for long bomb charges when you need them, because you can still bunker in a unit. He's one of the ones that you can give Potion of Strength and Sword of Bloodshed to.
Yeah, which is my favourite combo.
Of Eternal Hatred. He's just brilliant.
He comes with regen baked in, he comes with eternal hatred baked in. He's got all the stuff you have to give a vampire to make him good. He's already got. The only thing he hasn't got is armour.
Yeah. And you can't. He's only ever a level 1 on vamps.
Yeah, you don't take vamps to cast.
You're saying that's a real problem.
That's like chumps.
Yeah. But
no, I love the Strigoi though. I think he's a genuinely good option. Like, and the fact that he can be on a Terrorgeist.
Scab's Breath, Dragonbane Gem, Terrorgeist, Golden.
Curse the Revenant. So you've got
Aura of Dark Majesty.
Scream.
-1 leadership for that even affects your Terrorgeist Scream as well. It's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Golden.
Yeah.
I would say he's up there with an A on Terrorgeist.
Yes.
Because if you're saying, he can be cannoned off or whatever, but then so can an Elf Lord.
Every other character. Yeah. I suppose the only thing that makes him being cannoned off worse is that if he's your general, your army also dies.
Yeah, that's true. But
so you could argue that he's a B because of that, but I think he's just so good.
Somewhere between the two, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's either top level B or a lower level B.
I think he's, truth be told, in the competitive world, I think he's probably a B, and I think the Vampire Lord is an A. Although I prefer the Strigoi, obviously.
Possibly.
But Quick Blood, Red Fury.
Not level 4.
Ogre Blade. Your typical Blender Lord Vampire. Like, on foot. Like, he's one of them. There's a reason he's one of the most feared characters in the game.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't make him a level 4 though.
So don't.
Oh, of course not. No. He's
Do
not
it.
level 4.
What's the worst that could happen to your general with all those points sunk in abilities?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I know a lot of people do when they go all eggs in one basket, but I never make my Vampire Lord a level 4.
Never.
I'd barely cast with them.
I only cast on 1 dice with my Vampire General.
One dice Invocation of Nehek.
Yeah, that's it.
You either get it off or you don't.
The only when
you also bring D10 for that, so that your Death Wizard that's in the same unit as him can Spirit Leech.
So change that record.
Yeah, he's good for that. I think in the zombie army I sold you, Scott, I think I had a vampire on foot.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I did when I took that modified version of it to Derby, and the Vampire Lord did, other than the one game we got turned into a frog, which we don't like to talk about. Phil upset us in all sorts of ways, which was frankly one of the most hilarious things that ever happened to us in a game of Warhammer.
That's your way. You stop a Vampire Lord, you turn him into a frog.
Yeah, you turn him into a frog, and then I think he Spirit Leeched him with his LD1. It's like, oh, I mean, if I was to get beat off any spell, it had to be Spirit Leech. It's just teaches a lesson.
How the turntables.
No.
Armor at its best.
But I think the Vampire Lord's at least an A option.
Yeah,
it's A.
Truth be told, he's just incredible.
So flexible as well.
Yeah, you can do so much with him.
And last,
Anything you can't do is take death magic, Scott.
Yeah. Unless you take 2 of them.
Let's take 2 of them. Yeah.
which is not impossible.
You can also put him on a zombie dragon if you're an absolute.
Yeah, then he goes down to like a D though. It's just dear.
Up as well as down.
Bless him.
The Lord Necromancer is last, but possibly not least.
I think he's a B.
I
think he's
think
better
he's a
than
B.
all you. Yeah, he's better than your generic casters. You can have the black Periap for a start.
It's the fact he can have the black Periapt, yeah.
Or one of the good books.
Yeah. But the Periapt for me.
The Periapt's a no-brainer on a level 4.
Yeah, if you're taking a level 4 on a Vamp Army, which is not, you don't have to. If you are, you take the Periapt.
Yeah.
And it makes your magic face so much better.
Well, you know what I like the most about Lords? It's the bit where you don't forget to include the Bretonnians, the Skaven, and the Chaos Dwarfs, and then following that, you don't have to awkwardly add that in after the fact, and then make it seem that it was all done in one take. I don't know about you two, but that's what I like the most about Lords.
I love that about Lords.
It's great, isn't it?
My favourite bit, yeah.
What a thing to agree on. So, as we were saying, following on for our previous conversation, in one long take that wasn't interrupted, what do we think about the Bretonnian Prophetess?
I like the Prophetess. I think she's limited by laws, but the laws that she has access to all suit Bretonia. And
yeah, she's sort of good at what she does and no more.
All benefit the army, and she gives MR2 to the unit.
Yeah,
I
think she does.
Which is all excellent. If she miscasts and rolls a 7, though, she's blown up your unit, which is hilarious.
7 or below, basically.
7 or below. Yeah, 50% chance it blows up your unit every time.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate thing about the good to protect her in the middle of the night bus, bad if it miscasts.
Yeah.
And just sit her in your main bus with Crown of Command, though, and then giggle about it.
Yeah, it's for that reason I would personally lean towards C.
Yeah, I think she's not as versatile as if we take the Empire level 4 as our sort of benchmark, she's not as versatile. But
as you say, she gives that MR2 and you can hide her in a lance, but then she can blow up half your lance.
Yeah, and she's still a human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
hasn't she got that? So is it the goblet thing? She's got some quite good, nifty magic items, and that silver mirror. That's like an additional dispel scroll.
Yeah, there's nothing there that I don't think there's anything there that a hero level couldn't take.
Yeah. No, I think C's fair. Like she's just when you weigh the pros and cons of the extra stuff she does versus what she doesn't. Like I think she's a fairly generic caster. She's not just cheap.
Limited in her lore. That's
Although, like you can hide her, which is great. But when you hide her, she does run the risk of blowing up your unit.
I just like that. Yeah, she's good. You can hide her. However, if it goes wrong, which it inevitably will, she can wipe out your night bus.
Plus, you know it is, Mark. You can't take magic, so she can't take Spirit Leech.
No Spirit Leech, no. So drink, everyone at home, drink. Spirit Leech has been mentioned. Yeah, I think C's about right. And what about the Bretonnian Lord then?
For me, I kind of think a B, because I think you can make incredible builds with Bretonnian Lords.
He's one of the few things that can have heroic killing blow as well, I think.
Easily.
And he's so flexible, like Vampire Lords, you can build them in lots. He's obviously not as good as
Yeah, you can't have a rune fan.
That's too
It's
much.
not as good as a grandmaster in that regard.
When you put down a Bretonian Lord, your opponent never quite knows what kind of build they're facing, which introduces that kind of uncertainty. Whereas,
That's what I
with a lot
love
of
about it.
with a lot of other lords, you go, oh yeah, that's a Chaos Lord. You can pretty much guarantee what he's got, etc. Because there are some, good standard builds.
Yeah,
But
not
if a
for,
Bretonian Lord, it can be one of 6 or 7.
there's
different builds
multiple
if you
builds that all bring different threat. And if you're say a monster heavy list and a Brett Lord goes down, in your mind, you know he's got heroic kill and blow. Even if he doesn't, but you're worried about it.
You want to avoid him just in case. You don't want to lose a Star Dragon to
because of that threat alone. Even if you don't take the heroic kill and blow virtue, or there's the original version of Red Fury and things like that. There's just so many different threats that a Brett Lord can bring. And at the end, he's also probably so easy to get a one-up rerollable armor save as well. Plus, then the blessing.
His starting equipment's pretty good as well, like you're saying. Andy comes with a blessing, and you can pick his vow, can't you? So
You pay for the upgrade, but
you pay for but all that flexibility and all that, depending on what you want him to do.
I'm with Steve. I think he's a solid B. I think he's a really good option.
Yeah, B.
There's a lot of the heavy can do a lot of the heavy carrying as well.
They've only got 2 lords, the Bretonians. The other thing that we didn't forget,
100% more than Chaos Dwarfs, though, isn't it?
almost, double in fact.
Double.
Skaven then, the Vermin Lord, who you very rarely see.
I quite like the Vermin Lord.
I do as well.
He's got a good stat line. He's got 5-up ward. He's a demon. He's got access to the Skaven magic, which is bloody good magic. But he is a demon, and he is solo. He's a large target, so he can get shot.
I think he's only toughness 5 as well. With
Yeah,
no armor.
He's
T5
T5.
and 6.
Yeah, and his glaive thing's got multiple wounds D6.
D3.
So D3. And I suppose he's got Skaven spells of ruin.
He's very expensive, though.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive.
Very, very expensive. Like, for me, because of that, I think I'd probably put him in a C. Because I think he's not as good as Chaos Greater Demons.
Oh,
is he unstable as well?
No, he's not. He can flee, I think.
Because he's got ruin, he can skittle leap about as well, so he can go off and do his own thing.
I don't think you can skittle leap monsters.
Yeah, you can't skittle because it has to be infantry, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? It's so long since I've played Skaven. Oh, well, forget that then. He's coming right down from S
The
tier.
only person I ever knew who actually used his Vermin Lord a lot was Andy. He used to use a Vermin Lord a lot. He should be really good. Like, he's just not, but he's not bad. He's just very pricey, and you have better options than him to do what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's somewhere between C and D. Because I look at the D's and I think, but then look at the C's. He's better than a lot of the D's, but he's not as good as a lot of the C's.
Yeah, for his price.
Especially that his cost is meaning you can't take more of the other lords that you might want to. When you can go with the with the Lich High Priest. This guy isn't a D though. The Grey Seer.
This is what we're talking about. Love. I never left the house. I never left home without a Grey Seer in my Skaven army. If you're going to take a caster for Skaven, that's not just a Warlock engineer. You're taking a Grey Seer unless you're a lunatic. Or Steve, probably. You're also a lunatic.
The one time I took Skaven to an event, I took was it Thankor and Bone Ripper?
No, that's what we're talking about.
I mean, he is the ultimate Grey Seer.
He is the ultimate Grey Seer.
Yeah, he is a Grey Seer, isn't he?
But yeah, like obviously they've got spells to access to both laws of Skaven, which are like very competitive laws.
And you can sort of adjust to what you're fighting then, can't you? So, do you
Yeah.
pick him before the battle, or do you pick it when you do the
They
list? I
pick
can't
it
remember.
before the battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can really flex. You
Yeah,
have access to
and-
Warpstone
The
tokens.
D3 Upstone, and you can buy some more. So
I always
cast-
max out on them.
power
And,
dice isn't going to be a problem.
Yeah, and he's got the dreaded 13th.
Yeah, we love the Dread 13th.
So-
That's such a horrible spell.
He can essentially win games on his own
Yeah,
against certain armies.
yes. For me, he's one of those. He's the type of. I'd be considering putting up in that A tier bracket of the type of caster he is.
I
think he's a-
so. Even though he's limited to the Skaven laws, he hasn't got access to all the others.
But they don't follow the rules anyway, so
Pick the Skaven. I think the Skaven laws are just so good.
Practically
Could be.
load out
They
on
can be so
Warpstone,
good.
which means that as a caster, he's really good because it doesn't matter if you roll as much if you roll low on the Winds of Magic, not like a Slan, which could really hurt you if you roll low on the Winds of Magic. So you do to boost it.
Yeah.
Skaven, he just goes, just token. Here we go.
we can do that all the time. Like you got 3, and then if you got your D3 plus Warpstone tokens, I'll combine them all. I'll 6 dice the dreaded 13th on your ward saved block, and then they just all die, which is why they've got a massive target on the head whenever you see a Grey Seer. It's like that thing has to die because it's going to do quite a lot for the Skaven army.
So even aside from the Dreaded 13th, like some of the other Skaven spells like Scorch,
The Scorch, like they don't scatter, and you can cast
Just
stuff into
good.
combat. And it's
he's ace. He's
happy
the
on
man.
A for him. Or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you can argue for A or B, but there's arguments for both. So I'll be happy with A, happy with...
No, yeah, you're right.
He's either lower A or top B.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like A minus, B plus, which we're not getting into. Skaven Warlord, then. It's the only build anyone should acknowledge is just give him the Fellblade.
Fellblade Niels, run him forward.
Shield.
Or alternatively, you bunker him in some slave and you're purely there for a really, really cheap LD bubble.
Yeah.
Because it matters
I
to
think that's
Skaven.
his main role.
That's the main rule for him.
That's his main role, yeah. And kind of for that reason, I would just put him in a... If we're going the generic, Lord is like a C level, that's where I'd put him.
Yeah, I think he's very comparable to just a very generic Lord. Except he brings more to the table than an Empire one, obviously.
And
Yeah.
he's so cheap.
He's so cheap.
Yeah. But he won't, win you any battles on his own or anything.
No, I think for points and how much he adds, etc. I think he's very comparable to where we ranked in the Goblin Lords.
Yeah,
The
yeah, I'd
Orc
say
Lord,
so.
like, it's very similar.
Yeah. He's on that kind of...
I'll go with that. And finally, the the solitary Chaos Dwarf Lord, the Sorcerer Prophet, who isn't as cheap as a Skaven Warlord.
No, he's pricey. Like one thing,
Very
crossbows don't
expensive.
need lords. They don't need a sorcerer prophet, so again, you quite often don't see them run.
I've seen them ran twice, and one lost in combat with a Phoenix, and that was a quirky one, and ran off and got ran down. And the next time, one was these are both on Lamassus, I think. And the next one, he miscast on turn 2 and went into the Realm of Chaos. And that was the end of that.
It's a tricky one. it's a tricky one because he's very expensive for a start. He's neither a fighty character or a pure wizard. He's kind of somewhere in between. He's like a wizard who can fight a bit. So
Compared with Sorcerer, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord in that regard.
yes, yeah, he is. He is. And the Law of Hasha is very confusing. You've got 2 amazing spells in Ash Storm and Flames, which are quite long range. But pretty much everything else is very short range. So,
which designs for him to be on a flying mount.
Yeah, it's almost like it's designed for him to be on a flying mount. But then, of course, he's off on his own, and he can't really fight. So if you don't want him in combat, so you spend the entire time flying this insanely expensive level 4 around the board, hoping to hell he doesn't get shot off. Or magicked off, because his initiative is painfully low.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a weird one. I would put him straight C, because he is, you can still give him a really good armor save, and he's a decent level 4 standard.
Yeah.
He's got, and he can take death. But then if you look at Hashut,
amazing snipes.
the fact that you can get a Bale Taurus, which is a really nice mount, and he can give it, because you can give him armor, he can survive while the mount does all the work.
Yeah, you can
kind of almost pushes him up to a B.
A 2 up, 4 up, and he rides a great Bale Taurus who actually is decent in combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, considering we're rating this on like the potential of what you can give them,
I'd probably say he's a B.
Yeah, I would. If push came to shove out the 2, I'd
maximum
give him a B.
capability, I think he's a B.
Because he can
more survivable than any other level 4.
And he can win you games just on casting Ash Storm at the right time.
Yeah. What a spell.
Well, I'll follow that, because I've never used Chaos Dwarfs at all. So I'll take it on your recommendation.
I've taken them. I've taken on Chaos Dwarfs without a Sorcerer Prophet more than I've taken one with a Sorcerer Prophet.
Yeah, when I take what I would consider fun lists with Chaos Dwarfs, it's always with a Sorcerer Prophet.
Yes.
But what I'd consider my competitive Chaos Dwarf list doesn't have them. I generally go 2 level 2s.
Yeah, same. But that isn't to take away from the fact that actually a well-built Sorcerer Prophet's a very powerful character.
It's just, for me, I can spend the points better elsewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like for the price of that tooled up level 4, you can take a level 2 and it could die.
Yeah, and you can almost get 2 Iron Demons.
Yeah,
if you put them on a Taurus.
Train. All aboard.
Well, so that's that one, and then let's resume talking about what we're going to talk about as the tier list ended, as we were going to do, because this is all one take.
Indeed. Seamless.
Right. This is going to be crudely edited in. So after we pretended that the last thing wasn't edited in, Steve said, "What about Beastmen?" And of course, I'd forgotten to add them as well. So let's go through the Beastmen. Doom Bulls, where are they going to land on this tier list?
Love them. Love everything about them. Plus, they can fly. Or you can make the +1 to strike. Every armor save.
Top hitting yourself, Bill.
Yeah, I love them. I love the Doom Bull.
Aren't carpets handed out at Doom Bull College like books of Hoeth and Talismans of Preservation handed out?
Not always. You can't fly and have the other build, to be fair.
Yeah.
So you tend to go one or the other. The other build's actually a far better build, but you could take 2.
Yeah. And now, I think the biggest question for Doom Bulls is, are we looking at the generic version, or are we looking at the version that can take marks?
I'd say generic, because that's more. This isn't factoring in comp. It's just
Yeah, in that case, it gets hurt because it can't take marks.
Then if it can't take marks, I would say it's solid B.
Yeah,
if it can take marks, I think it puts it up to an A.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think the actual rules as written in the Warhammer Beastman book is B because he's got lots of really good options, but he can't take marks. Give him marks, he's definitely an A.
Yeah.
He's so strong. Such a combat beast.
Just put him in there for Liam's benefit.
And if nothing else, yeah, put him in B, otherwise Liam's going to complain at you.
He is my automatic Lord choice when I play Beastman. I never play Beastman.
Doombull, yeah, I always used to take a Doombull as well. He was my general all of the time.
I'm not saying that, other Lord choices are available. And I've seen plenty of players, play without Doombulls, but
those players are wrong though. They're wrong.
We're going to annex their catchphrase, and then we'll get into a real dispute.
Stop letting us cut their revenge. It would be really sad.
In jokes. I love them. What about what's he called? A Beast Lord? Because my knowledge of Beastman's pathetic.
He's good because he's actually got a really good stat line.
Yeah.
Like, he's strength toughness 5. He's got LD 9, which is handy in a Beastman army, especially for Primal Fury Bubble.
The Beastman characters, the Lords, are pretty good. It's just
Beastman Lords are good.
Army as a whole is not so much.
It's Primal Fury, which the Doombull doesn't.
Yeah. He's not frenzied, so he can't be led around unlike the Doombull.
Yeah. He brings a bit of a different focus to the Beastman list. He brings Leadership 9, which means that your Primal Furies, within his bubble are a lot more likely to go off. Doombull only brings Leadership 8. As Scott said, he's got a very solid stat line, so you can build him so that he can hand out his fair amount of punishment as well. And he's more of a support character. And
yeah, you can build up a tank or damage, or like you say, just to be honest, I actually think he's very comparable in lots of ways. Like, I think he's actually a good B option.
I think he's somewhere, like I say, where he's either top C or lower B. Because he's not as good a fighter as the Doombull.
No, but he's not as good as the Doombull, but then a lot of things aren't.
Yeah.
But he is 4 attacks at base strength 5.
Oh yeah, he is good. I'm just looking at the other B characters in there.
That's true, I suppose. As combat lords,
and all those.
Is he as good as a Ghoul King?
Well, no, he's not. But also, if he dies, your army doesn't crumble, unlike the Ghoul King. Yeah. So, to caveat that, he brings a lot to the army. I suppose the other question is, does he bring a lot less to the army? I mean, and the answer is yes. To be fair, like, how much less does he bring to the army than the Priest of Sigmar? You can't get as good an armor save, but he is naturally tougher and stronger. One of the main reasons you're taking him is because he's actually quite cheap for Leadership 9.
Well, he does quite a lot for the army.
He does a lot for the army.
He does. That's the thing. I think he's better than C, but he's not as good as a lot of the ones in B.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So it's a tough one.
It is a tough one because he is very much like lower B, like real high C. Because actually, is he better than a Black Orc War Boss? No, so he's probably a C.
I see.
It's a tough one. To be honest, I think you could comfortably make arguments for the BC category with him.
Yeah, I think so.
Keep him there. And the Bray Shaman, the Great Bray Shaman.
I would personally struggle to put him any higher than a C.
just because that tends to be where we've slotted most level 4s, if I'm honest. And I don't see what he inherently brings more than any...
Hearthstone.
Yeah, he brings the Hearthstone.
That's all I can think of.
In with a lot of spell options.
That's the thing, but then if you think Hearthstone, then you've got to think of like Empire or whoever with light councils. Any army that can bring a light council, for example.
Yeah, I think he's a level 4 with a decent level 4 stat line. Is he as good as a Chaos Sorcerer? No, but he is cheaper.
What's he could take Shadow, can't he? That's
Take Shadow, Death,
Lord of the Wild, Death.
and Beasts.
We're not going to mention Law of the
No, all the Wild might as well just not exist.
See the other tier list for Laws of Magic about why.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'd probably put him C. He has got a few
5.
tricks like the Hag Tree Fetish with help.
Yeah.
Some of the overpriced magic arcane items are nice, and he can scout potentially. I did run a level 4 on a raised board chariot scouting. That was quite fun with the jagged dagger and beast magic.
Yeah, Jagged Dagger's a cool item.
But you often see a lot of beast armies with a level 4 in. But that's because you just see a lot of armies with a level 4 in.
You almost have to take them just to counteract the opponent's level 4, though, don't you? And that's the sad part.
I
don't,
don't
I often don't.
I don't prescribe to that way of thinking.
Nor do I. I mean, however, that is, I think, one of the reasons why a lot of people feel like they have to take them.
Yeah, and a lot of the beast army needs magic. Like beast magic works so much better if you get wild form off.
Oh yeah,
so
and you get plus to cast it because you're casting a beast, or -1 to the value, whichever you look at it.
It's cheaper to cast.
I don't think you can see he's any better than any of the other like fairly generic level 4s.
No, because he's not on a par with the level 4 Necro with the Periapt or
the Slan or a Slaughter
or the Slan or something like that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I still feel really sorry for the demons of Chaos Demon Prince.
No, he's where he belongs, along with the Empire General.
Poor Empire General. Empire General really does deserve to be there, though, the absolute loser.
Oh well, no Griffin for him. Right, well, to edit back into what we were saying previously. Well, that's what we've settled on. Do any of these need to change? I don't see anything jumping out that needs to go up or go down. It works quite well because there's very few S, very few trash, and then a lot in the middle.
I mean, I think a lot of people watch this would argue the Old Blood's not an A, but I think in that specific build that we put together is incredible.
Well, if they want to disagree, they can make their own tier list.
And I think we have just looked at what is the most optimum build and how good are they within their armies. So I think that looks probably about fair.
It's hard not to say, in comparison with, but that's not.
Yes, like if we're comparison 1-to-1, like a lot of these would drop down if you're just going to pick a Demon Prince and go, yeah, but how good is he compared to him? Well, the answer's not. Their answer's they're all rubbish.
Yes, that would be really difficult to do. It'd probably take about 12 hours.
Or we compare it to the Empire General. Actually, they're all really, really good.
Oh, I feel sorry for the Empire General. I really like the Empire, but yeah, why?
Well, the thing is, you're just not going to take him, though, are
No.
you? Because you take him, you might as well just take
the captain. He does the same thing.
But you're not, because you're going to take an Arch Lector.
I'm just pleased that my beloved High Elves were on the S tier.
Because it's the broken build.
Well, you say broken, I say standard. Auto take.
what Chaos Warriors players say about the Demon Prince.
I don't think they can disagree.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything that particularly needs moved with just looking over it. What about you, Steve?
Can't see anything that jumps out. I mean, there's a few that can be argued that it can be moved
Up
up
or
or down
down
either
either way.
way.
A few edge cases, but without going
Yeah.
like C plus B minus, which is just getting a
Yeah.
bit into the weeds.
I don't think you can. I think you can see the arguments for everything that is there where it is.
I think in general it shows you the tiers of the armies relatively as well, like elves and warriors.
I think if you
and
if you laid
are high up.
if you laid this over our army tier list, I wonder if it would reflect similar.
I was not quite, but very. I think you'd see a lot of crossover
Yeah.
because some armies are actually like we mentioned don't need their lords; they're not carried by their
Yeah,
lords.
that's
Yeah,
true.
dwarves, for example.
Some really do, and some need their lords.
Yeah, I mean, if you put the army tier list over that, obviously goblins would have to be bumped way up because they're awesome.
Not the orcs, just the
Yeah,
goblins.
just the goblin. Oh, I don't need orcs. No, orcs drag them down. So, but apart from that, yeah. I mean, as you say, dwarfs don't really need lords, so that army's probably slightly hard. But then the dwarfs are around about C anyway, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Wise.
anyway.
Lizard men, I think, are about to see their lord options are good lord options.
I think we gave
The
them
only
B.
difference is probably demons, because demons are right up there as an army, but the lords
They don't need lords though, do they?
they don't
Like
know.
demons,
They don't
the
necessarily
kind of
need
demons
lords.
don't take lords. Don't need them.
Kairos. That's all you need. Well, thank you for going through all the lords. How long did that take us? Only an hour and a half.
It's practically a short stop for you, Mark.
Considering I've done 3-hour ones before, that's an acceptable amount of time.
If the general of the Empire wants some friends, we can go through some special characters that I could put in the trash section.
Yeah, we should do all special characters because there's some real trash in there.
But there you go. We'll do special characters for the next one. S will be obvious. Trash will also be obvious.
We'll need a bigger section for trash. We can say how trash they are versus their generic version of themselves.
Yeah, I think the standout one is King Lewincore, Bretonia.
Is he like 700 points of just utter garbage?
Yeah. It's like, what were they thinking?
I love the fact that hobby special rules just don't work anymore
No.
like that, but they never FAQ'd a points reduction or anything.
I will definitely include him in that one rather than ignoring his entire faction like I did for this one. But yeah, we're only human. Well, thank you both for going through that. If you want to come back and do the special characters one, I actually think that'd be quite a good idea.
I actually really want to do the special character.
Right, you heard it here first. We'll do that one next.
Really want to spend some time bad mouthing some special characters.
But until then, thanks for joining me. And I'll see you on the next one.